Thank you to all of you for having me here, and to Gordon for inviting me to speak. I think what's been so astonishing to me, coming here from across the country and crossing political boundaries, is that the conversations have all been so similar to what we're dealing with in our region too, and I find that great because I've been learning a lot from all of you as my time here, and I'm happy to share some of the things that we do at the Northern Forest Center. Does this have a laser pointer?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. How many of you are familiar with the Northern Forest? Just with a show of hands. Okay, good. Gray also works in our region. It's kind of difficult. I'm going to step away from the mic. We're right here in this landmass. This is a map of forest land cover in North America. And our region is remarkably the largest intact forest east of the Mississippi. There's about 2 million people that live in the Northern Forest. It includes Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York. It's 10.5 million hectares. And what's also interesting about our region is that we are within a day's drive of 70 million people. We have New York City and Boston, Portland, Maine, all within close reach. I want to start by just giving you a little context about the Northern Forest and talk about where the Northern Forest Center fits in, and then just close with some of the impact we're seeing. You've all gotten a lot of great context. Jonathan gave a great presentation about the demographics, so I won't go into detail, but just to give you a little bit of a sense, this is what it looks like. Oh, you like that. Forestry is a huge part of our history. We're actually proud to say that we're the birthplace of the modern pulp and paper industry. We were the hosts of the Miracle on Ice. Wood products manufacturing is a part of our economy. Recreation. You'll find, as we talk farm, I'm talking forests, the landscape is actually, they're often quite, they're in close connection. So we're working to explore how those working lands can work together. Okay, so this is a map about land ownership patterns. What I should mention is that we have a different land ownership structure. Most of our land is privately owned. Actually, 80% of it is in private hands. You'll see on this map, red is industrial forest land, green is investment real estate in forests, yellow will be land trusts, environmental organizations, conserved land. The gray-blue is public, and then gray are other non-industrial private forest landowners. What's really astonishing is that since 1988, there's been a dramatic shift in land ownership patterns. You'll see here, most of it was owned in 1988 by industrial forest landowners. And there was one sale of 1 million acres, I cannot do the math to hectares, that precipitated just this huge shift in the way people own land. 23.8 million acres have changed hands in the last few years. So, in 2007, that's what it looks like now. Wow. So you can see the really huge fall off in industrial land ownership. A lot more real estate investment companies are coming in and buying up land. We're seeing an uptick in conserved land, and then some in smaller landowners. But really, it's just in the past few decades, it's just been incredible.
What's the white?
Not forest land. As you've heard, it has impacts on our economy. The blue is employment. So the blue is manufacturing. We've seen a really steep decline because of paper and pulp leaving. Forest products manufacturing. A huge increase in the red and green lines are services and retail. So a lot of that is tourism. And I'm not really going to spend much time on these maps, although they're very interesting. It's just that our population is leaving. We're growing older. Wages are stagnant. So how does all of that context, what does that mean for the communities that we work with? It just means that we're really shifting the way that we interact with the forest and the ways that we use it. What has not changed is that this forest is a huge fundamental asset to our communities, and it's really their way of life. And communities and businesses and landowners are really adapting. They're evolving the way they use the forest. They're working to develop and revitalize markets for forest products. And that's where we come in. The center works to create quality forest-based jobs. We work to retain wealth in the communities we work in and conserve working forests. We work with communities and people in the forests that we work in to help build a stronger economy based from the forest. So I'll get into the meat of it, into some of the specific programs that we work in. Expanded use of community scale biomass applications is providing a new forest revenue source for communities and landowners. And also it's providing really tangible economic benefits. This school is part of our Vermont Model Wood Heat, oh my gosh, it's a mouthful. The Vermont Model Neighborhood Wood Heat Initiative. That initiative is an attempt to cluster demand for high efficiency, bulk fed wood pellet boilers in an effort to get us off oil. And then also catalyze the market for bulk delivery of wood pellets. So we award cash subsidies to, residential installations and community scale installations. I don't know if you're familiar with these pellet boilers, you probably are, but they're very high efficiency, they're in your basement, they're bulk fed, and with a click of a thermostat, it'll feed how much pellets you need. So it's a real seamless replacement for your old furnace. And we see this as a great opportunity because we're sourcing the wood pellets locally in our forests. We have a lot of mill capacity, and so it's a great way to also bring another revenue stream for forest landowners. And then also just the added benefits of using wood to heat. This is the impact of our Berlin Model Neighborhood Wood Heat Initiative. People are saving money on their bills, or avoiding, greenhouse gas emissions, and we're having, a real impact on the wealth circulating within that local economy. Over the 25-year lifespan of these boilers, there's 40 installed in homes just in one town. We're going to see $6 million in total economic impact. Biomass can only go so far. It is a low-value product. You only will get $2 per ton for wood chips. So that only goes so far to support the loggers out in the woods. So we also need to look at other diversified revenue streams for forest products. So that's why we work in the secondary wood products manufacturing markets. And for us, We had to work hard in our region to identify what competitive edge we had in secondary wood products manufacturing. So we found that we have hardwoods, very good quality saw logs. We can produce really beautiful furniture from those saw logs. And we have a proximity to market with all of the land, the population that I explained earlier. So we decided that value-added wood products was the way to go, and working with these wood products companies and promoting innovation was how we're going to help to diversify the markets. So we work at these companies, and we help them to adopt innovations to their business models, like lean manufacturing, mass customization, and sometimes we'll work with organizational development, just building leadership in these companies. I apologize, this is a little hokey design, but you're right. You can see I included it because you see the product in her hand. It's the end of the assembly line. She's putting together this beautiful pepper mill, and then it just represents the kinds of people that we're working to support. So I said before that we're shifting in the way that we use the forests and interact with them. The tourism and recreation industry is an increasingly important source of jobs. 74,000 jobs are supported by tourism in our area, and that's only going to keep growing. But you know that tourism jobs just are typically low wage. They're not creating the kind of wealth we're looking for. So we're looking for ways to help improve those wages. And so we're focusing on quality with our tourism program. We want to create really quality tourism experiences and then work to brand the region as a place that people really want to come to. This is the Mainwoods Discovery Project, and it's a pilot a program that we worked with industry leaders to create a quality label and a set of criteria for these tourism providers. And you have to meet this set of criteria to be a part of Mainwoods Discovery, making the businesses step up their game and improve the amenities that they have to offer. And then this group markets these providers. At the same time, we're working with the employees to work to provide better pathways towards better paying jobs. Oh, let me step back. So the focus on quality is that you'll attract a visitor that will come and then enjoy themselves at a quality location. They're going to spend more money on each visit, and then they're going to come back. So the quality, just the per capita spending on their visit is going to help to trickle down to the better wages. And then we're training the tourism employees, helping them build their careers, giving them the skills they need to be successful. So you can see how tourism fits into our portfolio of working to diversify and strengthen the forest, or strengthen the economy that is supported by the forest. We talk a lot about how communities and the forest work together and how we're working to bring them into alignment, revitalize the economy, and then also stewarding forest health. And it sounds like there's this familiarity in this room with community forest, and it's great. We're really excited about this program. It does promote a long-term good use of the forest because the community is then invested in protecting the forest land. I realize that we're a little different in that we have a lot of private land, and so the structure is a little different. But I should say that, well, there is a history of town land in the Northern Forest. People are very familiar with the idea of a town owning forest land. There is a lot of renewed interest, though. Towns are now, that don't have their own forest, are now looking to purchase. And what we find really important with community forests is that the communities are in the driver's seat. They're the ones making the decisions about the forest land. And they're setting the priorities, they're setting the goals for the community forest. So maybe they're looking for another revenue source to balance their budgets and help support their school, or they want to have access to trails for just their own recreational use and their, improve the quality of life in the community. Or they want to attract tourists. And then we permanently protect our community forests. That's another important piece of the way we approach it. We require that there's some kind of conservation easement. We just want to, forest, the benefits are seen over the long term. We want to just make sure that that's the case. I will have a chance to talk more about our community forest program later today. I also want to make sure that everyone has a chance to ask all of our panel questions. So I'll just move on. And then finally, advocacy. We do take a regional approach. So we have this unique perspective, unifying the states we work in. And we really want to ground our advocacy on the specific local projects that we work on to give our federal lawmakers and our legislators in the state capitals a sense and a vision. They're able to imagine the kind of work we're talking about when we say rural development. Tying it all together, our programs are Monarch Wood Heat, Wood Products Innovation, Tourism, Community Forests, and Advocacy. This is kind of our theory. When the forest supports the economy, it's locally based, and supports those people, the people thrive, and then those people then have a very vested interest in keeping the forests around for the long term. And then does it work? We're tracking. We find it important to see the impact of our work. To date, we have worked with companies that employ 2,216 people. And our work has touched and helped to conserve 250,917 acres. And then either through direct fundraising or money leverage through our programs, we're seeing $96 million in investment into the local economies. And so I'll just close to say that, like I said at the beginning, I'm finding there's a lot more similarity than differences here. And so, I'm happy to talk with any of you and share our experience and, see what you might be able to take from it. So thank you for having me, and I'll see you.